Back to our top story now. George Zimmerman is back behind bars. The suspect in the shooting of Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman turned himself in to a Florida police department this afternoon on Friday. A judge revoking his bail after prosecutors claim he lied about his finances. His attorney, though, speaking moments ago.
He is in custody now. He's going to remain there until we get back before Judge Lester. If and when he grants us a bond hearing, it sounds like he might consider it, but that is going to be based upon the motion itself, and whether or not Judge Lester wants to revisit his bond status.
So what happens now? How does this impact the case? Our legal panel is here. Fox News legal analyst Mercedes Colwin and defense attorney David Wohl. Mercedes, let me start with you. You know, look, this is not a final determination. A full hearing will be held, testimony taken, evidence presented, everything under oath, right?
Right, exactly. But here's the message to those prospective juries out there. George Zimmerman is not trustworthy. Why? Because when we gave him the opportunity the first time he appeared before the judge and asked about his finances, he didn't disclose this defense fund, which is at the heart of the issue, apparently has a significant amount of money for a defense fund that he never disclosed to the court. So those prospective jurors have already seen that the judge gave him the opportunity to be released on his own recognizance with the bail, and then suddenly he's got an issue regarding it. There's a trust issue at heart, and there's an issue for the jury in the future.
Well, David, it may turn out Zimmerman was actually being truthful. I mean, that money was raised on his behalf. It may not have actually and technically and legally been his. At the very least, he didn't believe that it was his. So maybe this action by prosecutors, what do you think, more political than legal?
Like just about everything else in this case, Greg, that $135,000 was put in a legal trust to pay lawyers, to pay investigators, to pay psychologists if necessary. It was not to be used for bail. In fact, it would have been unlawful to use it for bail. So this is a political action. And remember, Greg, the most important issues when it comes to bail are your ties to the community. Whether you're a flight risk, whether you have prior convictions. Those are the issues that the judge is going to deal with, and this bail will be reduced.
You know, what about the jailhouse tapes, though, David? Aren't those troublesome for the defense? I mean, prosecutors say the Zimmermans are caught on tape talking about, you know, in financial code how to hide this money.
Right.
Well, you know what, Greg? Whether he's talking about that or not, he was not legally able to access that money for bail. So the fact that he didn't reveal it is a non sequitur. The judge is making this into a political prosecution.
But his state of mind on honesty and credibility is what's important, isn't it, Mercedes? And prosecutors also claim that Zimmerman failed to tell the court about that second passport, which he failed to turn over. Right, Mercedes?
It's a really big issue. I mean, I was a former judge, and certainly when an individual comes before the court and they say, I can be released into the community, I have the connections in this community, I am not a flight risk, these are our finances, the judge is expected to take that person at face value. They understand that it's a very formal proceeding, they are bound to tell the truth, and now the judge says, at least there's some initial showing, that what he said was not truthful. So it is devastating for Zimmerman, and unfortunately for him, there's a huge media base looking at every single thing that happens, and every single development in this case.
David, if the judge decides Zimmerman was dishonest at the bail hearing, can't that be used against him during trial to impeach his credibility, even if he doesn't take the witness stand? After all, he gave statements to police, which will surely be introduced as evidence.
No, that can't be used against him unless he does take the stand. And Greg, the biggest thing here is the evidence that has come out.
Out-of-court statements, David, can be impeached.
His statements will come in.
You know something?
His statements will come in. Maybe not through him, but through law enforcement.
Is the medical evidence proving that his defense is legitimate. That gunshot stippling 1 inch proves that it was a point-blank shot. It was a death match, and Zimmerman decided.
Now you're arguing the facts. I want to argue the procedure here, and Mercedes, I want to say it again to you. Out-of-court statements can be impeached even if he does not take the witness stand, right?
He doesn't have to take the witness stand. What the law enforcement officials will come forward and say the statements that he made. Now, will it impeach his credibility? Not directly, because Zimmerman will unlikely take the stand. Maybe he will in this case, but but all signs are showing they won't take the stand, and that's when you can do a direct impeachment.
Yeah.
But you can certainly
Yeah.
marshal in the evidence through law enforcement about the statements that he made.
Last word, David, quick.
And that will definitely affect
You know,
his
I think,
credibility.
I think, Greg, there's no doubt he will take the stand because he's got nothing to hide, because
Right.
his case holds water based on the evidence, so
Yeah.
this should be an explosive trial.
Unless the case gets dismissed before it gets to a jury, and I'm betting he's got a 50-50 chance that could happen. David Wohl, Mercedes
Agreed.
Cohen, good to see you both. Thanks.